Welcome, everybody. Let me just send some invites. I see Michael here as well. Yeah, the whole gang is here. How's it going? How have you been, Bianca?
I've been good. It's been a crazy week in Web3 land, that's for sure.
Never a dull moment. Sorry, I gotta shut off this music. There it goes. Never a dull moment in crypto and NFTs, I can tell you that much. It's hard to put your phone down at times. What's going on? I see we have Michael and Soul up here too. How's it going, guys?
Good morning.
Hey, it's going. Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah, excited to have you guys on here. For those of you guys that have not caught this show, this is episode 2, just a community space. We've been doing this once a month. Basically, highlight some builders and creators in my community. So people that subscribe to me, I give them the option, hey, you want to present something that you're working on, or you have a project or a friend, and give the opportunity to highlight people that are actually building and creating stuff in Web3 and not arguing on the timeline like I've seen today. It's been
Wait, what did I
interesting.
miss? Who's arguing?
We'll leave that for a later time. Yeah, definitely some spicy stuff. Check the group chat. But
Okay.
but yeah, excited to have all you guys here. Maybe let's go around the room and do a quick intro. Bianca, we'll start with you.
Sure. I think Chris from Front, which is part of the team that I'm going to be introducing today,
Just
is
invite him
here.
in up,
Um,
Chris. If you haven't come on Spaces, make sure you're on mobile. But I did send you an invite.
he's probably not on mobile. Let's see. Okay. Well, hi everybody. My name is Bianca. I've been on Spaces here with Jess a few times. This time I'm introducing myself as a community manager with Front. We're revolutionizing the finance industry, and I'm excited for Chris to kind of deep dive into that. And he's had an opportunity to work on several different projects. Very incredible and brilliant mind, and I'm excited for you guys to be able to hear that mind here today.
Of it, looking forward to it. And yeah, we'll see. Chris may we'll see if he comes back. But yeah, Swole, what about you? You're up next on my screen. What's going on, fam? How's your travel?
Hey, it was good. Yeah, everything's good. Thanks for having us. Desiree just jumped in too, so I don't know if you sent her an invite or she'll request, but I really love what you're doing as far as like utilizing or like using your platform for people who subscribe to you and stuff. I think that's super cool. That's why I made that post the other day
Love
because
you. Thank you.
I don't
Thank
really
you.
see anyone else doing that. So I think you're crushing it. So thanks. But yeah, so we have a 501c3 nonprofit called EnergyXChange, and it's kind of in and out of the Web3 space, primarily in Web3. That's where the bulk of our donations and stuff have come from, and just kind of helping underserved communities globally and internationally and stuff. So we'll dive
Awesome.
into that in a bit.
Awesome. Looking forward to it. And yeah, always happy to have you here. And thank you for being a part of the community. Michael, what's going on?
Hey, how's it going? I am Michael. I am a co-founder of Indelible Labs, and then also a co-creator of Ethscriptions. So working with Middlemarch on Ethscriptions, and that's what I've been working on a lot lately.
Uh,
But yeah,
Yeah, I'm
that's me.
looking forward to chatting with you. I can say that Nico is definitely an advocate for your community and always talking about what you guys are doing. So I'm looking forward to hearing more from you and seeing what you guys are working on. And then I do see Chris. I see you came up. Let me guess, first time speaker on Spaces?
I didn't realize it was mobile only. Apologies for that.
No, no, no worries. It happens all the time. No worries. So that's why I always throw it out there. But welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. Then give a just quick background on myself. So I'm director of sales engineering at Front, working with Bianca. Prior to this, I was at Coinbase. I was on their infrastructure team, focused on staking and RPC node functionality. And then I just had a series of roles, all fintech focused prior to Coinbase.
Nice. Love to see it. Oh, did you break off or did you stop? Sorry, I didn't see. Okay, good,
Nope, I'm
good.
here. Yep.
And last but not least, Ray Ray, welcome.
Hi, thanks for having us. I'm Ray Ray. I've been in crypto, I think it's been like 2.5 years at this point. I started in DeFi. A friend of mine pushed me over to NFTs because I am an artist, but I wouldn't say I came into that title or publicly that title until NFTs. And then because of the space and the community, have been working to build that up and started EnergyXChange with Swole. And we use, I got on a little bit late, I didn't hear what he said, but we use the NFT space in our community to raise funds and find meaningful projects to give back to, like he mentioned, in underserved communities.
Love it. Love what you guys are doing, and thanks so much for coming. But yeah, that's just a quick intro of who's who and who we have here today. So, and yeah, I'm not going to introduce myself because I hate doing that stuff, but you guys already know who I am. But yeah, let's go ahead and kick it off. I appreciate you guys being here. I'll ask a couple of direct questions to each of you guys, and then some general questions where we can all chime in on. But let's start with Front Finance. So you guys are basically giving the ability to leverage API solutions to enable trading stocks and crypto, trading crypto without ever leaving user products. So, okay, what does that all mean? How does that help? Kind of break it down to us from a user perspective, and then from like a project's perspective. As you can see, we have some founders here, some builders. So what is it that you guys are building over at From Finance?
Yeah, so I think the best way to describe this is if you think about yourself as a crypto user who has a self-custodial wallet. Every exchange is essentially a good fiat on-ramp solution that's low cost and whatnot. But the problem is keeping your assets on exchange is never smart, right? We always want to put them back in a self-custodial solution, whether it's a MetaMask or a Ledger device or some cold storage, whatever it may be. What we're doing at Front is we're trying to reduce the friction of moving those assets around. So embedded digital asset transfer. So we do offer all of the read functionality of like aggregating all of your different accounts, like your Robinhood, your Coinbase, your Kraken accounts. But really, I think the power to reduce friction for users is pulling assets off exchanges to a self-custodial wallets, which is one use case. So if you think any Coinbase user will know this, Coinbase has their self-custodial wallet where the self-custodial wallet is tied directly into the centralized exchange. So it's very simple to go back and forth between self-custodial and centralized exchange. What we're doing is we're taking something like a Phantom wallet and we're saying embed our functionality in Phantom wallet. And then you can connect to any of those centralized exchanges that you commonly use, and you can pull assets off them with a few clicks and not have to worry about copying and pasting wallet addresses or dealing with QR codes or anything along those lines. So it's much easier to pull those assets or push those assets without having to do the current process, which is very difficult.
Speaking of that, of being very difficult, like obviously, you know, that's a huge problem with what we see in Web3 now is like onboarding people, right? Like even me as a native
Yep.
crypto user, I have like 30 different wallets, 10 exchanges, like a notebook to keep track of all of this. So from a user perspective, how do you see some of these solutions maybe like helping onboard more users? Like how would that look from a user perspective?
It's funny, the scenario I go through is we're not going to be able to onboard the next 100 million users, and I feel like that's a buzz term in crypto in
Next
general.
billion, it's
It was
next
during
billion.
yeah, next billion. I mean, it was that way during my time at Coinbase, and honestly, I saw that every day while I was there, which is why Front intrigued me when I started speaking with them. And I use the analogy, if your parents can buy crypto and transfer crypto to a self-custodial wallet, the safe solution, whether it be MPC, cold storage, whatever it may be, then we can onboard the next billion users. Right now, we can't do that. So Coinbase has made it very simple. Robinhood has made it very simple to buy crypto with a couple clicks of a button. But the problem is the minute you try and take it off exchange, it becomes near impossible for somebody who's not crypto forward, let alone crypto native. So that's what this solution is, or one of the key solutions we have. That's what this is supposed to help solve. So now, if it was your parent, they could go into their self-custodial solution and just say deposit funds, connect to my centralized exchange account, put in their username, password, MFA, and then pick which assets they want to move, and then hit transfer, and you're done. There's no need for any type of wallet address or anything.
Interesting. And how would how would so not even like an ENS domain or anything like that?
Nope. Nope, not necessary at all, because part of what happens with who's integrating with us, so who our customer is, so whoever the self-custodial wallet may be, part of what's happening under the hood where this is all API driven is it's pulling wherever the target address is. So what wallet is it going to programmatically, so that the user who's logged into that self-custodial wallet doesn't have to worry about copying that target address, which is their self-custodial wallet, taking it to the exchange, putting it in there, saying send. It's all done under the hood directly from that solution. That's why it's an embedded solution that we're offering. So go into self-custodial wallet, say transfer funds in, connect centralized exchange. It already knows where it's going to because it was initiated out of that self-custodial wallet. And then you select whichever assets from the centralized exchange that you want, and then pull them directly in.
Interesting. Bianca, I'll throw it over to you. Anything else that you wanted to comment on or maybe bring to the conversation?
No, I just think that, during my time in the space, I've aligned myself with larger communities, and something that I really loved when joining Front, one of the questions actually that Chris asked is like, why join Front? And one of the things that I'm excited about is aligning myself with a company who is going to make it easier for my mom to join the space and not even know it. And I think technology like this that makes it easier to access your finances, or for companies to be able to leverage our API to help with, what our mission is something that I'm definitely excited for. And I think that's all I just wanted to add on that front. I mean, Chris did such a beautiful job explaining our.
Hey, guys, can you guys hear me? I'm sorry, Bianca.
Yep.
The space just muted everybody by mistake. I wasn't even touching the phone. I have no clue what's going on.
No, you know what's crazy is your spaces went from 200 listeners to 13 and now 20. So something
Yeah,
weird is
and it
happening.
looks like
Just not
Steven is
you.
stuck in the matrix. So if we do get rugged, yeah, Steven, leave and come back. I have no clue what's going on. But yeah, I'm sorry, I did not mute you.
It's okay. It's okay. I think just in general, Chris did a great job about explaining what Front is. I'm excited for, obviously, the technology is very powerful, and the fact that we're offering it to different companies is awesome. So if you guys want to hear more about that, feel free to contact us. But I'm trying to just help right now, because I feel like I'm also now stuck. My user interface looks weird on like my app. So give me a thumbs up if you guys can still hear me.
Still there, but yeah, looks
Okay.
like, listen,
Okay, cool.
Instagram was down, WhatsApp is down. We've made it through, a little glitchy, but we'll keep it going. No, but we'll come back and we'll circle back to you guys. I think that's a great overview. And I guess my last question, like what would it look like? Would it just be from a builder's perspective? Like, would it just be an API integration, or is there anything aside from that they would need to implement?
Yeah, it's purely an API integration. So we live under the hood. Aside from, and it's through an SDK, which we have native SDKs for web, iOS, and Android to make it really simple. So aside from the SDK pop-up, which is where you pick from which centralized exchange you want to actually connect to and whatnot, everything else is done purely under the hood. So from a user's perspective, it doesn't look like anything out of the norm that they're not already used to, from like a Plaid integration, which, or a Plaid UI, which I'm sure a lot of people are familiar with without even realizing that. And from a builder's perspective, so like the actual development time for this is relatively short. I mean, from my perspective, I did it in probably under 6 hours myself. But if you want to get really fancy with how you want to do it, it's probably a couple days of an engineer's time, somebody who knows what they're doing. And it's very quick and easy to do. It's a lightweight integration.
Nice. Good to hear. Good to hear. Yeah. And apologies again, Pulse. I think you were requesting and somehow got booted out of the room. So apologies for that. Twitter is acting up. I hope you come back. But yeah, let's keep it moving. Let's throw it over to Swole and Ray Ray. Maybe give us a little overview of what you guys have been building over at EnergyX. And also feel free to pin anything to the top if you'd like to share. Feel free to do that.
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, you sound good. Go ahead.
Okay. So we kind of just, I guess it was July or August of last year, after we had known each other from the space, but then we actually met randomly at NFT NYC. And we didn't realize that a lot of our vision and stuff that he had previously done with his NFT project, Funny Looking Strangers, which he did a lot of give back to Surfrider Foundation and ocean conservation. We suddenly realized, as we started talking, that our visions aligned, that we saw so much money coming into the space, but a lot of it being wasted on crazy material items like Lambos and Rolexes and stuff like that. Or
the NFT influencer
just,
starter pack.
yeah, literally. And then, or being like dumped into scam projects, or whatever influencer was pumping at that time. So we're like, there's got to be a better way of channeling this money in the right direction and doing good. And another thing that we both had a frustration with was seeing a lot of NFT projects use, let's say, the American Cancer Society or some type of big charity, where like a lot of that money doesn't even go to like the actual people that need it. Like there's so many people being paid out before it actually reaches somewhere. And then within the NFT space also, people would be like, oh yeah, we're donating this much to this charity. And it really felt like everybody was doing it just to have a feel good about it, but not actually taking action themselves. So we've always had the vision, even though we're quite new, all considering, we've always had the vision of becoming like the standard of giving in Web3, to where if people want to donate to a project, they can work with us and we can figure out where to put the money towards. And so we actually, I forget, a couple months ago, we actually got all of our paperwork done. We spent months learning about becoming a 501c3 nonprofit, reading all these books, like doing a lot of back work. We kind of went a little bit silent in the space from how active we were, but it was because we were doing a lot of back work. And we finally filed for it, and our lawyer said that it should be completed within 9 months. But one of the reasons there's so many flip sides to how we wanted to work this, because we wanted to, let's say you came out with an NFT project and there was something valuable to you, or a project or something in your community that really needed attention, then you could come to us and we could basically find a way to use the money for good. But then on the flip side, with us having a 501c3 nonprofit, it was having the community in mind, because having that status basically makes it to where it's all donations are fully tax deductible. So we've just been trying to figure out ways that we can benefit people, planet, animal, like the world basically, as well as our NFT community. And one of the first activations that we did as EnergyXChange, I've been living in Indonesia the last 6 years. And in 2018, there's a little island about a 30-minute flight from Bali. And it's where all my like deep local family is. And they had over 2,000 high magnitude earthquakes hit in 1 month in 2018. And so I was over helping with that. And then through that, met these kids like an hour north of the area, and had started a company with my sister. And long story short, I always promised these kids that we would do something with them. And so once I started talking to Swole about it, last October and November, we did a fundraiser and did donations from our NFT projects to basically help them build their own shop, because what happens is a lot of expats come over there, buy land, build businesses, make a lot of money, and then the locals are just left where they're at. And so we wanted to build a community space and a shop for them. 100% of everything made goes back to the kids in their village. And so that took about 2.5 months to build. And it's just been really cool seeing in a short time, we kind of proved to ourselves I feel like we proved to ourselves in the community, but our community also proved that they're there for us as well, because us throwing a vision out there is one thing, but the fact that so many people shared it and got like the right people just happened to see it. And even if you're not financially capable to donate, that share is what got us the $10,000 donation and then got us a $15,000 donation. And so it's just been really awesome for us, because especially another thing in the space that has annoyed us over time is whenever projects make all of these promises, they have their roadmap, they show so hard the dream, but they don't back it with action. So within less than a year, we have a stack of things that we've done. We worked with Steezy Ape Gang, and they donated skateboards that we brought to kids at an orphanage in Bali. And it's just been a wild ride in such a short time, and really, really was, I don't know how to say it, I guess like a moment of realizing how limitless crypto NFTs and like this community can really be.
That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, and I know that you guys have been doing good work even before you came up with EnergyXChange, which I guess leads me to that question, because like you mentioned, has been a stigma in Web3. Like I can tell you the countless number of projects that I bought that were for quote unquote charity. Look at what happened 3 weeks ago, or not even 3 weeks ago. Was it the girl that faked cancer? So how are you making what you guys are doing visible and like putting it out there? Because I agree, like actions speak louder than words, right?
Well, that's something that was important to us whenever we decided to do that fundraiser in October and November of last year. We were like, okay, we want to instantly flip this, because like I said a moment ago, and like you all know, like people will be like, we have these grand plans and we're going to do all of this good. And then suddenly you find out they made like hundreds of thousands of dollars, and then suddenly they make a wrong play, and then suddenly are begging for money, only to realize they didn't pay the charities they said they were going to pay, and they didn't show the action, and they didn't show the proof. So our thing and how we want to build this is to where when we get the funds, it might take a second for us to really make a grand plan of how we want to put it out. But from the moment we got the funds in October, November, end of October, November, I was in Indonesia. I started the build. I found the shop in December and started building out the shop directly in December and had it completed. It took a little longer, and it almost took my sanity in my life, because I was building in a foreign country, and I speak Indonesian, but that area has a totally different language. And so thank God those people are like my family, so we made it through together. But we just wanted to be able to show how quickly things can really be done if people aren't bullshitting. Because yeah, it's the whole action speaks louder than words type scenario. And we want to, in the future and everything that we do, have the documentation of it so that we can like actively show you guys, like, this is what you donated, this is where the money went, this is the people that it affected. You had mentioned like knowing that we've done charity work previously, and I basically been doing this my whole life since I was a teenager. I was going to Honduras and different mission trips and stuff like that. And even when I started going to Bollywood, I'm a celebrity hairdresser in Los Angeles prior to moving to Bali, and I got one of the big salons in West Hollywood to give donations for one of the orphanages so we could buy them new pillows and stuff like that. And documented, I still have all of these videos too, documented pulling the money out from the ATM machine, paying the people for the pillows, giving the pillows to the kids. So again, it's like having the documentation and us being hands-on in the space, but also being hands-on and showing you exactly where the money is going to, because it also gives you a more intimate connection to it rather than just being like, oh, this money's donated here and then it's done. Like, you get to actually see the money being put to work.
Love it. Love it. Great stuff what you guys are doing. And yeah, I'll circle back and yeah, we'll see what you guys got coming on, how we can contribute and how can we can be a part of the community. But thanks for sharing, Ray Ray. We'll keep it moving. Michael, you're up. And I'm sorry, I don't know why I keep on calling it Inedible Labs. It's Indelible Labs. So I apologize. I think I even put a typo on the poster. I was probably on edibles. I apologize.
Wrong target market, Jess.
Is it though? I mean, it kind of overlaps.
You're right, not really.
But yeah, tell us a little bit. So you guys,
we probably should have named it.
yeah, I apologize for that. I just noticed that. But you guys are building the first no-code tool to create on-chain NFTs. So tell us a little bit about what you guys got going on over at Indelible Labs.
Yeah, so indelible it just means not deletable. So that's kind of it's a weird word though.
I didn't know that. Thanks for sharing.
Yeah, it just indelible just means it's not able to be deleted. So the meaning behind that is just that, like, if you're creating something on indelible, that art is there forever. So some history on us. My business partner and I, we created Indelible Labs a little over a year ago. So like around April or May of last year. We started on it in April. I think it took us about a month to get like the first initial release out. But we came into the space with a tech background, and immediately with that, just fell in love with on-chain art, on-chain NFTs specifically, and wanted to see on-chain NFTs kind of become more of a norm and not some super niche like thing that only 10 people in the whole space can do. But we wanted to create our own. So we created one. It's called On-Chain Kevin. It's this meme free mint thing that we did for fun.
I'm actually a holder, disclaimer. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah. So yeah, we made it for fun, and there was like problems with that. It was like the first time we had written any Solidity before, or we were like exploring Solidity and creating smart contracts. It was like our entry into this development space, even though we came from development backgrounds and like Web2. It's very different. It is very different. If you create something on Ethereum, you cannot change. Well, you can change it. You can. It is immutable, in a way. So I say that because it's like you can upgrade things and whatever. But it's like the thing that you created is not changeable. It can just point to something else. But whatever. So the problems we were running into is we came from like I was saying, we came from like a Web2 background, and in Web2 you're like build quick, fix things later, and you just can't do that. So we deployed like 3 contracts, I think, after we were done, and spent like over 2 ETH on and this is back when like Ethereum was like almost $4,000, like, or it was like maybe closer to 3 at that time, but still, it was a lot of money. And it was like a free mint, so we didn't make anything off of it. It was just like just for fun.
I remember
I was
seeing a
just
few
telling Robert.
versions in there, and Nico's like,
Yeah.
yeah, they update, and Nico would keep me posted.
Yeah, love Nico. So yeah, anyways, we made on-chain Kevin, and in the whole process we realized like this is just not like gonna work. We're engineers and this fucking sucks. Like we really got to make this easier for people. And so especially on chain, like at this time there weren't like really any no code tools at all for creating NFTs, let alone ones for on chain NFTs. This is before Bueno. Like we launched our tool before Bueno even existed. Like this is a long time ago, at least in crypto. And so yeah, but so we were talking to designers who had made like on-chain collections, and some of these people were spending like $10,000 to $60,000 to get their like contracts developed by like software engineers. They were getting murdered, and so let alone the fact that you have to spend ETH in a lot of time, like a lot of times inefficiently, to get your art put on the blockchain. And so we set out to create this platform to like remove the middleman and make it where creating on-chain NFTs could be just as easy as creating off-chain ones. And so yeah, so we created Indelible Labs. Since then, I think like close to half of like on-chain collections that exist have come like from our platform, just because like that's really like the only one. So like the other ones were just like by other developers, right? Because designers, if you're a designer, you're either going to be spending thousands of dollars to have a developer create one for you, or you could use our platform. And so we've seen a lot of cool stuff launch off of our platform. Obviously, the market right now is kind of in a weird spot, but what we're focusing on now is just like continuing to add more features, expand what you can do on chain, and just expand like what you can do in general. So, but yeah, keeping the idea of making it where what you're doing can be preserved for the life of the blockchain is like the heart behind what we do. So yeah, that's Indelible Labs.
Love it, love it. So let's talk. So some of the common questions, like when you think about on chain, art on ETH, you think pixelated or like on chain monkeys or something like that. what are the limitations to doing on-chain versus traditional, pointing to IPFS or just some type of cloud server?
Your wallet. It just depends on how much you're wanting to spend. So, there really is no limit. It's just, how, the cost. The cost is really the only limit, because what we do is in a feature coming out soon, you'll be able to upload literally anything almost. There actually is a limit on the file, but it's not actually it's not like a blockchain limit. It's just a limit that we've seen from like OpenSea on how much like they're willing to put into getting the data from the blockchain. So it costs $0 to like read data from the blockchain in ETH. Well, 0 ETH to read data from the blockchain. But companies like OpenSea, they probably have like their own read nodes that are like running and allowing them to pull this data from the blockchain. But as they're doing this, it's costing them it's costing them computation to like do this. So even though they're not spending ETH, these front end sites will still put like their own soft limits on how much they're willing to like work for you for free. And so we do have a limit that we're going to be putting, which is like, I think 2 megs, which is still pretty huge. But technically from a blockchain perspective, there's like 0 limit. If you have like your own node, you could just like compute like anything if you're just reading data from the blockchain. So maybe there's ways we could optimize that in the future. I have some ideas, but right now, that's like one of the things that we're working on right now.
One more question, sorry. So you've been building this for a while, and then, all of a sudden now we have ordinals, quote unquote, that are claiming to be doing the same thing. How has this changed like your plans for the future? You talked a little bit that you're also working on ETH subscriptions. Maybe you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I think ordinals. It was funny. Ordinals came out, and everyone thought that like they like invented on-chain storage, and I was just like, no. This has been around for a while. It just goes to show like how niche that like community was of people. And apparently like there are people that have like just have completely missed for years the fact that like art existed on chain on Ethereum somehow. But I loved it because it just brought light to the fact that like, because I've been arguing for this forever, and so people were like, it was like clicking, like, oh, so I only have to spend money once, and I don't have to like make sure that my card on file for IPFS is like, not expired, so that everyone on my NFT project doesn't just get rugged one day. And so, like on-chain storage is more costly up front. There are ways that you can make it minimal, but what I tell people is anything times infinity except 0 is a lot. And so, multiply like that $5 a month IPFS payment by forever, and it's going to be a lot more than this like one-time fee of getting your art put on chain. Also add in there the stress of having to make sure it's running, still pinned, and that your like card is being renewed, and like it's just crazy to have to like worry about that when you don't need to. So yeah, I think on-chain storage is super, super nice.
Yeah, it's going to be
And
interesting when all of, the NFT projects that have rugged me, the images just start disappearing, in a couple of years when they stop paying any server.
yeah, 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 right, exactly. Yeah, I don't wish that upon anybody, but I have been definitely encouraging people to do on chain if possible. But it does cost. It does cost, and I think that like for those who are not willing or just not able to pay for mainnet on-chain storage, I do think that L2 on-chain storage is a viable option and probably even a better option still than IPFS. So people have dropped collections on Polygon. I kid you not, for $2. Like, what? Like, so who cares at that point if like no, I mean that would suck. But like I was gonna say, like, who cares if like Polygon like is even around in like 10 years? Obviously you don't want that to happen, but it's just like so minimal, uh, when you bring in L2s into this, that it's just like it feels like a no-brainer. Don't worry about it, and it's like dirt cheap. It just makes sense.
Yeah, I love that. And I'll open it up to anybody. Brad, I see you come up. Steven, I see you here to see if anybody has any comments or questions. And I also pinned up the tweet. It looks like you guys are building on Base, which is the Coinbase layer 2. So shout outs to that. But yeah, I'll open it up. Who had Brad, go ahead. I see you have your hand up. Welcome.
Hey, GM gang. I was just trying to. I have questions, but I feel like they're kind of very nerdy and technical. And so I was trying to think of a more digestible way to kind of ask.
No. Go back and give us the nerdy and technical, because that's where I was going to go with it. So please.
Yeah, I was just
Is someone talking? I can't hear them.
I can't hear me there, Michael.
Oh, Brad, you're rugged. Yeah,
I'll
leave
come
and
back.
come back. But in the meantime, and we'll go to our last guest, Stephen, in a bit. But I did want to welcome you. I know you were having Twitter's acting up, but did you have a question or comment? And welcome.
Well, hello. Yeah, I was definitely lost in the Twitterverse, sphere, metaverse, wherever, somewhere, because I like came up and I was co-host, and I quit the app. I came back. I was still co-host. I was like, that can't be. I closed my phone. I turned it off. I came back on. I was still co-host, and that's when I actually muted the whole room from
So
leaving and coming.
you
It was
muted everybody.
yeah. I
Okay.
left a voice message in the chat. I'm like, because I was
Can't
so hyped.
listen
I'm
to
like,
a
oh my god!
voice
And then I was
message
like,
while I'm hosting a
well,
space.
yeah, I thought of that immediately after I finished recording it. So you can hear me in the moment, like, what the fuck? Because that was like, I muted the whole room from like, I turned my phone off and came back. Like, what? Okay. Anyway, so I have known Michael for a while. I've been a holder of the Kevin's. So from like an artist perspective, I truly believe too that everything should be on chain within the contract. Like Michael knows this. We talked in the back end. It always comes to like, well, I like detail. You guys know in my work, like they have a lot of, they're large files, so it's prohibitively expensive. I think that like the collection I'm minting now currently, I was gonna put on chain, but because there's detail in the pieces and they're not that large, but they were still like 4 MB or something. I don't know what it was, but I remember Michael quoting me like $1 million or some large ridiculous number. Like, no, it's not happening, because if you're telling me a 2 MB cap, which is still a lot, considering that code, like coded art is what, kilobytes, like 2 3. I mean, how large are those contracts with the art within them? I can't imagine they're very large. They're certainly not, when they get into megabytes, then you're talking a lot of money to move them around, right? It's not just the minting, it's moving all that around, because they're very heavy right? I have a lot of shit in them. So, but provenance wise, yes, of course. And the thing is that I found over time is that it almost becomes like like a political conversation for people that don't understand. Like I've walked into rooms and was trying to express to people the difference of on-chain art within a contract and your token that's pointing to something in IPFS on a server. And it's like, yeah, if those servers get shut down, that image no longer exists. You still hold the token, but the art is going to be gone. I mean, the ultimate provenance is to have the art within the contract and for it to all move in a single transaction. So I truly believe that that's the way, and there are limitations. Layer 2s are a great solution. I'm kind of an ETH maxi, so I'd like to see something, created a little bit. And this coming from like a guy who's minting on crypto.com, and like I'm collecting on Tezos, but I'm not minting on Tezos. It's ETH for me, and yes, it is expensive. I watch gas very closely, but yeah, I would like to have photography on chain. That would be amazing, right? So that's kind of my 2 cents on it.
Yeah, no, and I hear you. I do think that I think that there will be a day when L2s are mass adopted. I think that Base is has a high chance of being that, just in that it's backed by Coinbase. Polygon has tried to be that. It has not really succeeded. Though it is cheap. I think that there will be a time, though, when, and we should all hope this, because it means that Ethereum is winning, that operating on mainnet is just not efficient, and that is really bad for our bags, because all of our NFTs are on mainnet, and it will be one day, hopefully, very expensive to just even transfer them from one wallet to the next. So expensive that probably we won't do it very often. And that will be very bad for us. But it will be very good for Ethereum. And at that time, probably much before then, L2s will become mass adopted, or other cheaper options like ETH scriptions, which is kind of like the other side of the coin. But that's kind of my 2 cents on that. Is like, I totally understand being an ETH maxi. I think if you are truly an ETH maxi, you will think Ethereum will one day be worth over $10,000. And imagine that, and Gwei regularly being over 200.
So
It's
wait,
just
yeah,
it's
I
just
see where you're
not.
going. I totally align with you. That's exactly what I'm saying as an artist, because establishing the provenance on Ethereum, regardless of if it's within the contract or not, I think you're establishing something that's significant that I know will carry inherent value the longer it goes on. And for art's sake, you're establishing that provenance and that history and that significance, and establishing it within that chain, regardless of the cost. I think the cost of the chain inherently adds value to the art and adds to the provenance, intertwined.
No, I agree. I do think that it could go, like, because of the cost, and because most people aren't using mainnet, it'll be like rich people.
Right,
Essentially.
for sure. Polygon is the
um,
future, for sure. I agree with you.
well, maybe.
Or one of the L2s.
Yeah, I think that, like, eventually that, I guess what I'm getting at is like, this idea of like, oh, I'm an ETH maxi, therefore I won't use L2s. It won't be an argument.
Completely agree. Thanks, Stephen, for chiming in. And let's see if Brett is back. Brett, what's up?
Am I back? Can everybody hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, all right, dope, cool. I don't know what happened. Twitter's just
I don't think any of us can hear him.
Oh, you got to be kidding me! Come on, Twitter.
Yeah, I don't hear
Oh
him either.
no.
We hear you, Brad. So we'll just have we're gonna talk to Brad up here in the booth. You guys just
What's
hang
up,
out, and it'll be
Brad?
dead
Yeah,
silent.
maybe we could.
Just
We could say the
translate
question for you.
Yeah.
It can't be all technical though, because I'm gonna get
No.
Yeah.
lost like halfway through it.
Yeah. So is Base technically an L2 or is it just an EVM compatible chain?
Isn't it a copy of Arbitrum? Isn't it using? I'm sorry, OP Stack. Isn't it using OP Stack as a layer 2? It's my understanding.
You're talking about Base?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, I
that was the
didn't even
question.
repeat
Base,
it.
yeah.
No, you didn't. You didn't do what you
No.
say you were gonna do.
Base is a fork of Optimism.
Yeah.
Well,
Asking if it was if it was an L2 or EVM compatible. Sorry.
Yep.
Yeah, it's built on optimism.
I have so many more
Steve,
questions,
I wanted to actually
but I'll drop and come back again.
not question something you said if you're an ETH maxi, because I think you can tell by my handle alone that I'm an ETH maxi, but I'm also a pretty solid bag holder of Matic and Optimism and Arbitrum. And I think if you are a true ETH maxi, and this is just personal opinion, if you're a true ETH maxi, you would support the L2s because the L1 itself is just meant to be the settlement layer. It's not really supposed to be the transaction layer, which is where the L2s come in. So I think by being an ETH maxi, supporting the L2s furthers the point that you are an ETH maxi.
Oh yeah, and I'm not adverse to. I'm not supporting anything. I'm just saying, as far as for minting as an artist, that specifically.
Yeah, gotcha.
But also, like, in practice, or technically, though, I agree. In practice, I'll say that, like, most of the Polygon drops on our platform go literally nowhere, and a lot haven't even minted out. So I totally understand someone not wanting to do that just because there's not much activity on Polygon. Maybe I'm not saying across the board. Obviously, there are collections that have done very well on Polygon, and are currently doing well on Polygon. But if you're wanting to get a lot of, if you're wanting to be seamless, almost everybody has ETH. And if you go to a mint site and you're being asked to switch to Polygon, and then you need to bridge your ETH over to Matic and this and that, it's just like this. It creates some friction, I think, for people. And I'm not saying it's not gonna change. It's just currently how it is now, and I do think it will change. I think more than it. I think it will change. It's going to be forced to change, because of, similar to what you were saying, mainnet is just going to be a settlement layer, but more than it, like, just more than it being just like supposed to be a settlement layer, it's going to be. I am so bullish on Ethereum. It's that I think Ethereum will be forced to be a settlement layer because it will be way too damn expensive to do anything else on it. So that's where I'm at with it.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like as the user experience, which for L2s gets better when it's more seamless, because yeah, right now it's horrendous to like bridge to Polygon. Like, even me as somebody who's in crypto, first time bridging, I'm like, oh shit, where the hell's my Polygon? 40 minutes later, you're like, did it go through or not? So I don't know. Like, I've been always harsh on Coinbase, but maybe Base will be that seamless experience, and let's see. But yeah, we'll see. I don't know. That's my opinion. But we have Brad back up. Brad, let's see if third time's
Let's
the charm.
try again. I'm so glad that Steve got my sign language to.
If he's talking, I
Oh,
can't
that's
hear
such
him.
a
Oh,
bummer.
Wow, that's fucked up. That's what it was doing to me before. I was getting stuck, but co-host.
Sorry,
All right.
Brad.
No
You
worries.
got a short
Yeah, or
question?
Yeah,
make
I
your
mean,
comment. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, real. I'd love to connect with some of these devs on the side and talk about kind of some of the things that happen with roll-ups and how beneficial they can be. Especially once you start tying those into L2s and just some of the different things that can be done. Because I agree that Ethereum will ultimately end up being too expensive. But with off-chain validation and batching, transactions, it might end up being, a viable solution. I'd love their input on that if they can. And if not, then I'll probably end up dropping and I'll
Yeah,
message
because I
people.
don't know if I could translate all
Yeah,
that
I
over.
know, dude.
But
My
okay,
bad.
here's my translation. Brad wants to connect with the devs. So if you're so for the speakers up here for the devs, hit Brad up. He had some techie questions. I'm not even gonna something about roll ups
I'll
and
I'll comment them down here in the comments and see.
The
He's gonna put it in the comments.
Okay. All right.
yeah.
But yeah, roll-ups and fruit roll-ups and bread.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Which is actually pretty good if you've never had bread wrapped in fruit roll-ups.
Yeah, and I mean,
Ooh.
that's like one of the challenges when we talk about like Web3 or crypto adoption is like, yeah, even, I would consider all of us here to be, nerdy. We know a lot of stuff, but like a lot of people don't care about this stuff or don't know. So I feel like making that user experience seamless is like very necessary. And that's what you guys are trying to do at Front, right, Chris? Maybe what you'd want to talk about, like what you guys are working on or what's coming up next.
Yeah, so for sure. So that's exactly what we're trying to do. And I think one of the other really big use cases that we have seen recently take off is what we call just a normal crypto payment, right? So if you're used to going into like Shopify and you want to buy something on somebody's store, you go, I want to hit pay with my debit card, pay with PayPal, or whatever it may be. What we've found in developing countries, which have really high inflation or unstable currencies, really bad central banking systems, is that the developing countries are actually finding payment in stable coins, USDT, USDC, to be highly sought after because they don't want to get paid in their native currency or in US dollar and then convert it to their native currency, because by the time they do get paid, they're going to get 60 cents on the dollar in some cases between transfer fees and inflation and instability, etc. So a lot of times they just hold their money in whatever platform transferred it to them, almost like their own self-custodial fiat wallet. So what we've found is that crypto payment transfers or crypto payments are really no different than a transfer. So we're creating functionality that's allowing our users who want to offer payment in crypto, specifically stable coins is what they use. It can be in any crypto, but specifically stable coins, where essentially they just go in and say, I want to pay 20 USDT to this course or this I want to get material from them or something like that, or pay for some service that was completed, and they can connect their self-custodial wallet, their central exchange account, and just hit execute. And because it's already pre-programmed for the dollar amount they want, or if they want to put in a variable amount, they could put it in there, and it transfers without any issue, and it goes right to whoever was providing that service. So it's a very strong use case we've seen a lot of traction with recently. And I think it's going to be one really that's going to help the developing and up and coming countries over what we see generally in like the U.S. and the U.K. are very common, where it's common to use credit cards and whatnot, and it's uncommon in developing countries.
Interesting. Love to see it. Love to see that you guys are building. But before I get through the rest of the speakers, did want to circle it back. Brett, are you at least able to hear
I can
people?
hear everybody
Uh,
fine.
okay, good. Good. I posted your tweet on the top. Yeah, Brett wants to connect, but I did want to turn it over to Steven. Steven, I know you had some issues in the beginning of the call, but what are you working on? What's going on with you? Give us the rundown.
Well, I think, see, creative wise, I've been focusing on just using these tools still, focusing on AI with playing with stable diffusion, playing with different models and all the different just infinite potentials with output from there. But yeah, then I take that to like another level with like Topaz, which is AI upscaler, which is incredible because for like photography, it's not so great. But from AI to AI, it really puts an incredible touch on the images. And then I just work up from there and then start using like Adobe Generative Fill. So I have like this collection out that I feel like it's a way to visually storytell like I've never been able to do, um, which is amazing. I had a merch line that dropped in Mental Health Awareness Month, which I believe was March. And I dropped some shirts with some moods. They're one of one Morse moods. It was my second collection on ETH, which is a mental health collection, which we know is super important in this space, especially to watch your mental health and take care of yourself and take breaks as needed and touch grass. So that was like my second real collection. And I took the moods and put them on shirts. And then I was able to give back and I made a donation to NAMI with, direct sales from the shirts, which is pretty amazing. So, spreading mental health awareness, connecting, Web3, connecting to everybody through, this platform and through the art. I've been collecting art on Tezos. I had my first collaboration on Tezos with another artist. An Iranian artist was so inspired by one of my one-of-one photography pieces from Cuba. It's a pink. It's actually on my banner. It's not that pink car, but there's another Chevy Bel Air that's pink. It's the front end in my Photos to Cuba collection, and she was so inspired. She does watercolors, and she painted the watercolor, and it's the collection sold out on Tezos. And since then, this is usually what happens because I'll circle back to the beginning, which is relevant in a second. But now I'm collecting art on Tezos, which I do find a lot of fun, and I'm building a very nice curated collection on Tezos. So circling back and tying this whole conversation in, I started prior to coming onto this account, right, as Stephen Morse. I actually started minting art as my arts journalism publication with Pork Belly Times when it was like pseudo cool to be anonymous. So I was minting on a free blockchain, which is the crypto.com/NFT, which is they are on it's built on Cosmos SDK, the Crow token, a different blockchain altogether, which is essentially a gasless chain as well, which does have its benefits as well. Just like everything, it's like to each their own. The thing that's really cool for them, unfortunately, their marketing is very much hype cycle driven. They do retain USD value. On the back end, it's crypto. It's all Winter wallets and it's all doing its thing. But it's kind of nice from both the collector and the artist perspective that you're not relying on like a token's USD value correlation. It's basically it's a stable coin that we can all kind of associate with pretty easily, which for adoption and also just like stability of the value of the art, because let's say Tezos goes to zero, or let's say Ethereum goes to zero and go crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like there's the value, right? It can rug itself. So I don't know. It's just something nice to equate to. So that's kind of cool. But that's where I started, and then I decided to come to Ethereum when it was affordable. After Ethereum had went from 3,000 and 4,000, and I could come and start doing OpenSea collections and go from there. But yeah, so it's definitely like a journey learning here, right? Like we're all still learning and building, and it's nice to just be here and have these spaces to continue connecting with everybody and find out what everybody's up to. So actually, this collection that I'm dropping right now, which was a crypto.com collection collaboration with some shady person in the space who personally rugged me, which is why it's ending up on ETH now, because I pulled it from crypto.com. I went from naming them big heads to fuckheads. And that's why they're called fuckheads, because it's kind of anti-establishment. And artistic freedom, because that's what we're all about in this space, is creative fucking freedom.
Who rugged you? Tell us.
Do you really want to know his name? He actually went to federal prison for 9 months and then
Oh
came
Yes.
back.
my God.
And the guy,
Yes, I want to know.
he was the one that had my back. He was like, yeah, bro, mint them on ETH. Like, I'll support you. I'll help you. I'll do nothing. Never liked, never retweeted, never minted, nothing. Never paid me for the art, anything, nothing.
Dox
So
him,
yeah.
Steven. Dox him.
He's
All right,
the
guys.
fake
All
KD, but
right, guys.
anyways.
Settle down. Settle down. No,
Anyway,
but
but
I
yeah.
totally got you. I totally got you. I mean, a lot of you guys have been here. I've known a lot of you guys for a long time, and I appreciate you guys because, yeah, I know you're creating and you're building, and you haven't done any shady shit. So I appreciate you guys. We're the last few standing. I love to see it, and yeah, and I love to see what you've been playing around with AI, and I love learning from you, Steven, so I appreciate it. Even Gensler in his hearing today, Gensler said AI like 3 times in the first 2 minutes of his speech. So even Gensler is capitulating to AI. He said it's the next best technological revolution or some shit like that. But
Let's not go too deep, because we'll start getting into the whole ethereal, what's the point of our existence at that point. So I don't know how deep you want to go with that topic of conversation.
no, yeah. We do got to start wrapping it up. So I want to circle it back to the rest of the speakers and let us know like what's going on if somebody wants to learn more or participate. Like, what are the next steps? So I'll throw it over to Swole or Ray Ray to see, and then we'll throw it around.
Cool, thanks. Yeah, I'll be quick. So we kind of set it up as far as like how you guys can get involved into 2 different ways. We have the nonprofit, which is EXE International, and then we have our for-profit, which is EnergyXChange. So if you look at the pinned ones, EnergyXChange.xyz is where you'll find like our marketplace of like artisan goods and stuff that basically helps support Desiree and I to kind of go on these missions and be able to do this so that we're not taking directly from donation funds. We want to make sure those donation funds get put towards the actual mission itself and not for the cost of travel and like food and hotels and lodging and like stuff like that. So that's why we have that separate for us to kind of help sustain us in the process. The actual nonprofit site is exeinternational.org. You guys can find that. It's also linked in, it should be linked in our Twitter account. If not, then I'll go ahead and fix that soon. But yeah, coming up, one of the things when we started this is we wanted to curate a community, but then be able to kind of give back to the people who are in our circle and give back to causes that are important to them. A lot of our communities come from the Swole cult, if you're familiar with the cult that we had started. And then our EnergyXChange group that we have.
A cult within a cult. Yes.
Yeah,
You want to tell everybody what the Swole cult is, just in case they don't know.
So I used to own an ape, and then I minted 100 of my ape. Just right click saved it, and then that sold. It was free, and everyone that sold out. And I created the cult, the Swole Luxo Bags cult. And then just as a joke, I was like, "Fuck it, I'm gonna do it again." So then I did it again, and then we sold, I think, 150 or 200. Again, I think they were free or like $1 or something. Because that time we switched to a manifold contract, and then OpenSea like delisted us several times. But yeah, so basically what we did was if you hold that token, similar how do you do, Jess, with your subscribers, I created a group chat. So everyone who has that token, it's like a token gated DM group, which I really love token gated DM groups. Because I feel like just the engagement is just different, right? It doesn't become like a shill space, which is amazing. So it's been going on now for over a year. And, through that, we've had like crazy like life talks, right? Like you really get to like know these people. And through just like a commonality of joining the cult. So through this, I'm Puerto Rican. Squeeze, who's helped us, he wasn't here earlier. He helps us a lot on like our like tax stuff that we've had questions with. Elizabeth, who's the Web3 attorney, she's helped us a lot on like our legal paperwork and stuff and just questions that we've had. So a lot of our group and core group has just been just by chance like Puerto Rican people. So talking with Elizabeth and stuff, her mother owns like a nonprofit Montessori school in Puerto Rico. So going forward towards the end of the year and stuff, we plan on going to Puerto Rico and kind of helping with her mother and her school and kind of, putting donation funds towards that and kind of helping her school get set up. It started in 2019. So kind of like, it's really started getting going as soon as like pandemic happened. So it's been a lot of like trial and tribulations that she's had to go through. So helping them with like their books for the library they're building, for murals that they wanted to have set up, computers that they have coming in, stuff for the playground because it gets really hot in that part of Puerto Rico. So having like a shaded place for the kids to play. So that's kind of like what we have coming up next, and working towards like Puerto Rico, since we've done stuff in like Bali and Lombok and Indonesia and stuff because Desiree's over there. And now we're just kind of reaching back to our core community and kind of seeing what's important for them and like how can we help them towards causes that they are passionate about.
Love to see it, guys. Yeah, make sure to check out the pinned tweets, follow EnergyXChange, and check out what they're building. Thanks so much for sharing that and for coming by and for being a part of the community. Like, totally appreciate you.
Yeah,
The
thank you
doctor.
as always.
Michael, I'll throw it over to you. What's next with Indelible Labs?
Hey, yeah, so, just kind of piggybacking on the previous conversation about, L1s becoming expensive. We're just focused on working with Coinbase right now, and they just launched mainnet, and so we have something coming next month that we've been working with them on, and just making it, partnering with, like quality artists and, uh, you know, really solid teams like Coinbase to just make creating on chain as affordable and as efficient as possible. If you're interested, follow us on Twitter. You can reach out to me at any time. I'm like pretty much always on Twitter. So, but also, we have a Discord that you could hop into, and there's a lot of people in there that, even if I'm not quick to respond, they'll be pretty quick to help. So.
Love it. Thanks, Michael. And don't worry, we're all always on Twitter. They try to make me go to Threads. I tried it. I couldn't do it. But yeah,
Wait, what's Threads?
Exactly. What's Threads? Yeah. Your favorite influencer told you to go to Threads, but we'll leave that for another conversation. Bianca or Chris, anything you want to leave us with? What's next? What's coming?
Can you guys hear me fine?
Yeah, you
Thumbs
sound
up or
good.
good. Perfect. Good. Not much. I mean, I think Chris did a great job at explaining the different use cases for front. We have a lot of cool and exciting things coming. Even a recurring session with you, sponsored by us. And right now, we're giving eligible companies 100K in credits for Front's API. So feel free to like follow us, check out the website if you know anybody who would be eligible. Let them know, and we're excited to work with them. And that's it.
Looking forward to it. And I know Brad wants to connect, so make sure to connect. And obviously looking forward to the spaces as well. We're going to have some great topics and conversations in the month of August. And I may reach out to some of you again. We'll see. But what I wanted to do is I do see DAP has their hand raised. Did you have a comment or question, DAP Social?
Yeah, I think you know me, Jess. How are you? It's Enrique.
Hey, Enrique, what's going on?
Oh, great, oh, great. Just wanted to say hi. I'm on this account now. It's part of the Everrise account, so you know us. We're building, and yeah, just wanted to say hi. I've been listening to everyone, and it's always great to be in spaces like this where everyone is building and actually sharing information. So thank you, Jess.
Thank you, Enrique, for coming. Yes, I know you. Good to see you. Yeah, and Stephen, what about you? Any last comments or anything you want to leave us with as what's next?
Well, I'm working on some collaborative stuff that will be on Ethereum, and there's probably going to be some music involved. That's going to be coming up at some point. I've also just kind of branched out IRL and taking more initiative into my acting career with acting classes and acting get-togethers. I'm getting new headshots, with the strike going on. That's really, I'm not even a union actor, but it affects the industry on a whole, and it affects laborers on a whole. So yeah, I'm just focusing on improving my resume and stats and new headshots, and just getting ready for that to pick back up, and and continue to build in this space and explore with creating. I don't see myself minting anything new right now for a while. I think I've told a good story, but I will say that I just was accepted to the Hugs platform, which is like an artist discovery tool, which is through Zuckerberg's, what is it, wife or sister?
Sister, yeah, sister.
Sister, yeah. So from my perspective, it did take a while to set everything up, because you have to put the collections, but I actually did it backwards so it would read the way it should, and my first is at the bottom, and then but it has all the links to different marketplaces, or even Manifold or Known Origin. It has all the options, and it's just a nice way to put everything in one place that I found that actually works well. There was .eth.co, but this is, I would say, significantly better. So that was really cool also that I experienced. But yeah, I'm looking forward to growing on there as well. I think it's I think that might become a very important tool for artist discovery, obviously, with Zuckerberg kind of social connection background somewhere mixed in there.
Love it, love it. Oh, go ahead, Michael. I saw you unmuted. Did you want to chime in?
Oh, no, sorry. I was gonna say something, but I can just DM Steven. It was about Hug. I had literally just seen it for the first time like last week.
All right, he's gonna give you some alpha, hopefully some good one and not some bad one, but we'll see. But no, yeah, thank you guys for coming in and for participating. Like this, there's always a lot of craziness on the timeline, and just to kind of stay away from that and see that people are actually building and creating in the space, it's good to see, and I appreciate you guys all. This is episode 2. Subscriber community space. So if you want to be a part of it, subscribe to me. I don't usually ask for much. I never ask to retweet or anything, but that's how everybody is up here, because they're just a part of my community, and we're just going to highlight them. So thanks everybody for coming. We'll be back in a few weeks, and I'll be back Friday with Crypto and Coffee. Have a great weekend, a great
Thanks,
week
Jess.
or night, whatever. Thank you
Thank
guys.
you.
Bye,
Talk
guys.
to you soon.